And as we heard from Mark, Apple investors are waiting for Apple to innovate. And joining us now with what new tech trends could be on the horizon from Apple and other smartphone makers is Rob Enderle, principal analyst at the Enderle Group. Rob, good to have you back on the show. Let's just get straight into it. Apple's announcement that it would buy back shares, increase its dividend, and split its stock 7-for-1 did send shares higher in after hours, but some analysts say that this move does little to allay concerns that the company is losing the innovation game to rivals, and that in fact it's distracting or trying to distract from the fact that it doesn't have anything up the pipeline. What's your take on that?
Well, that's exactly right. Steve Jobs created an iPod cycle. So the iPod came out, he flipped the market, then he continued the cycle with the iPhone, then the iPad. He would have never brought out the iPad mini because what that did is cut margins and flip the market to somebody else who was stronger. In that particular case, there were already lower cost, good products in market in the small size, and that really hurt Apple. And now the cycle's kind of run out. What do you do after the iPad? The iTV was supposed to be coming, but Apple couldn't get the TV working, and the iWatch is really more of an accessory than it is another cycle. So they're stuck. They need something else to carry the market forward, and they're trying to distract the market from the idea that, hey, we need another big thing by giving the market a bunch of money and saying, okay, the stock's going up, we've split the stock, we're giving it dividends, we're doing stock buybacks, don't worry about what we're not doing.
Well, as you quite accurately pointed out, still no sign of the Apple iWatch and Apple's long-expected foray into wearable tech. When can we expect that?
Well, it was expected, actually the wearable tech product was expected in the first quarter and clearly didn't show up. The problem with wearable tech is the only products that seem to be moving are exercise products, and you saw one of the leading players in the exercise wearable market actually exit because they weren't making any progress. Apple probably couldn't do as well as Nike in an exercise-focused product, and unless the product goes broad, Apple really can't play. I mean, is it really going to be better than an iPod for music? Seems kind of doubtful. So go ahead.
Rob, here's one of the concerns. When people go to the gym, they tend to take their iPod with them as opposed to the iPhone. And now if the iWatch, which is as expected, will incorporate music and fitness features, will the iWatch then basically kill the iPod?
Well, you know, the iPod's been dying out slowly anyway. So the end result is, yeah, it could just simply displace it, and that wouldn't help Apple carry forward. They need another big hit product. They don't need to prematurely wipe out one product and replace it with what would probably be a less expensive one. So there lies Apple's difficulty as we move towards this iWatch, is they've got to find a way to get people to look at it as a magical additional product, not a way to kill off a line that's already been kind of dying off slowly anyway.
Well, Apple's expected to release the next generation iPhone in the fall, according to various reports. What can we expect then?
Well, a larger screen, and I think we'll see an updated design. The iPhone design has been starting to look kind of tired of late. If you hold it up next to a new Samsung phone, for instance, it looks substantially older, both in size and design. And so they need to update it, but they need to have it still look uniquely Apple, which is often the trick. Now, they didn't lose their key designer. The guy clearly has some more games left in his portfolio, but here's where you get to find out how much Jobs himself influenced the design to create these amazing products, because it might have been Jobs' influence that got the right design through the process. And if that's the case, we may be disappointed in the phone that Apple brings out.
Well, one thing that Apple, Google, and Samsung all have in common, Rob, is that they've all pledged that by 2015, they will have a kill switch that would be built into its system for remotely disabling smartphones and wiping data. Tell me more about this kill switch feature.
Well, it's been demanded by the government. The problem, of course, has been that a lot of people have had their phones violently stolen and been harmed in the process because the phones have a fairly high market value as a used item. The kill switch would basically brick the phone. So if you sold somebody's phone, you really couldn't resell it. You'd figure out pretty quickly that it was stolen, and even if you decided to keep it, it would probably remain bricked. And so it destroys the market for stolen phones. You know, Amazon kind of did that with the Kindle, so there's no point stealing a Kindle. The Kindles can be bricked. And it really is probably the best way to deal with theft, remove the value of the stolen product. And it's something the industry probably should have done 5 or 6 years ago.
Rob, very quickly, biometrics has been the big trend recently. What other trend or innovation do you see happening in the smartphone category?
Well, the other thing that's coming is 3D. We've certainly heard it rumored by Amazon and their phone. And the one place where 3D will work, where it didn't really work in TVs, is on a small screen. That's largely because you can do it without glasses. You're a single person watching it, so you can place yourself in the sweet spot, and that can make a huge difference in terms of being able to play games and even laying out store real estate. So for instance, if you were to take a picture of your room and you wanted to place a virtual piece of furniture in the room, you could do that on a camera 3D screen where you'd find it difficult at almost anything else. That explains why Amazon's technology. So I think that's one of the biggest things that's coming.
Okay, we'll look forward to that. Look forward to having you back on the show as well. Rob Enderle, Principal Analyst at the Enderle Group. Thank you for joining us.